It's time for News and Brews, reporting on all things industrial machinery, AI, robotics, and advancements in automation. It's ATX West correspondent Jacob Sanchez.
Automation, it's more than just robot arms, it's more than conveyors. Innovation in this industry means helping people's lives. It means doing something different. I want to talk about human-centric innovation solutions, and of course, you know I had to bring in my boy, Will Healy.
So excited to be here, Jacob.
How's it going, brother?
Thanks for having me.
For the people that don't know or the people that may have forgotten, tell them who you are, what you're about.
Yeah, definitely. So my name's Will Healy. I work for Universal Robots. That's the organization that feeds my kids. And I work with Universal Robots doing segment and strategy. How do we use the robot to help more people and to help people work with robots, not like robots. I'm also a board member for the Advanced Manufacturing Industry Partnership in Cincinnati. And that's our local manufacturing association. You know, we talk a lot about workforce in the United States, and the way that we fix our workforce problems is through local action. It's the only way that we're going to fix it is by individuals and individual companies taking action locally in their community. And so I talk a big game, so I got to get active in my local community, and so I do that with the AMIP.
Nice. And just in that short description, you've said a few things. You've talked about workforce. You said something about helping humans, using robots to help humans, and that's something that I want to get your opinion on this. I'll give you a story real quick. When I was in Japan this last November, I went to this cafe, and I wanted to go to this cafe because you get served by robots there, and I was like, oh, it's going to be AMRs or pre-programmed. This is going to be great. So I go in there, and it turns out that all of the robots that are controlled, from the hostess robot to the waiter robots to the ones serving you coffee or the ones that are at your tables, they're actually remote controlled by humans. And what this place is, it's a place for where the workers are all people that are bedridden in hospitals, they're sick, or certain people that have some mental and anxiety challenges that they're trying to get through. They may not be comfortable in social situations, so they're the workers. And so each robot had that person's name. Yep. They could talk to you and see you, and that's how it's kind of like a recreation for them to get back into society. That's insane, and I just want to
really cool.
I want to get your opinion on what do you think it means for robots to help humans, and how do you think we can innovate robot solutions to help humans?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great example of putting the people first, right? The worker first in an organization. And so, you know, we want to engage the workers wherever they are and being able to think creatively about how we find a workforce, right? We're all challenged. Japan's one of the most challenged workforces in the world. And so that they're thinking very innovatively and very creatively about where to find the workforce where it is. There's a whole category of robots called teleoperation robots. And that's exactly what's going on there, right? Where the robot is being guided and piloted by the worker. I've seen this teleoperation like dump trucks, and I just read an article this morning about a mine in Canada where they're actually, the trucks are driving themselves between where the mine is and where the material gets processed. Yes. So some really cool ways that teleoperation is becoming possible because so it's driving autonomously in the boring part, but at the part where they got to come in and load, or the part where they've got to unload, someone's actually remoting into the truck, doing the like finite or the very detailed oriented work, and then they're going on, getting the truck driving straight down the road, and then they go to another truck and work on the next dump or the next load. Nice. So really cool. So we're seeing that even with collaborative robots. So, you know, I work for UR, so UR's doing, robotic 6-axis arms collaboratively. And there's a group, EWI, in Columbus, Ohio. They're doing tele-welding. So you put the robot in the confined space or the space that's not a place where a welder wants to be, and then the robot goes in, but the welder stays back, and then they use a haptic device to actually do the welding that the robot's doing.
Nice.
So really, really neat.
That's interesting. And something, I like the story you just told about the almost point A to point B for that mining operation.
Yep.
It brought attention to something that I want to get your opinion on as well, with quality of life. So we have human robot innovations, human-centric solutions. What is your opinion on quality of life innovations? Like I've seen when I was at the same Japan show, I had these basically little bootleg straps all on my legs, and it was so that you could sit without having anything, no tables, chairs, and so it's for like factory workers, line workers, where they can take a break wherever they are at any time.
Totally. So, I mean, when we look at the idea of the person at the center, you start off saying we want to talk about human-centric automation. I call it people-centric technology investment. Thinking about the people, the worker, your frontline workers first, talking to them. And if you go to your frontline workers and you say to them, hey, what parts of your job suck? Man, every day I got to bend over, I got to pick up these parts from a pallet, I got to put them into the machine. By the end of the day, my back hurts.
Well,
I can't
get down.
When
you go home. Yeah.
It hurts when you go home. I can't get down on the ground to play with my kids. I can't, I can't sit properly. I have trouble sleeping at night. So you talk to your frontline workers, you get that feedback, and you say, okay, how do I solve that problem for that worker? Hey, the exoskeleton that you're talking about, this is, there are lots of different types of exoskeletons, wearable devices, there's a ton of them out there, and this idea of having assist for the legs or the assist for sitting or the lift assist devices are really powerful, and they put the worker at the center of the investment, right? That becomes a technology that people are interested in.
And so something that you just said there, and I think we've said it a few times, and I just caught it right now, is that term investment.
Yep.
And whenever anybody gets any type of automation, solution, new technology in their business, they want to know how long until I've paid this thing off.
Yeah.
They want to know the ROI. What is your opinion on how ROI can be more than product out, money in?
Yeah, fire question. Absolutely. Great question, Jacob. Question of the show. I'm going to give it to you right now. So
you all heard it.
Yes. But no, really, I think the real trick is of course, we need to bring productivity to our business, of course. But when the National Association of Manufacturers did a survey recently, mid last year, and the number one business challenge of manufacturers, number one, 3/4 of manufacturers surveyed said their number one challenge was finding and retaining good talent. It was not productivity. It was not quality. It wasn't the normal metrics that we used to measure by. Your number one challenge right now in the United States is finding and retaining people. And so, yeah, the productivity ROI is important. We have to have a return on investment on productivity. But I would argue, I love this idea from my friend Fabian Schmall. He says ROE. Make sure you have an ROE, a return of engagement.
Oh, interesting.
Get your engagement back, because we have such low engagement in the United States in our workforce. So how do we get return on engagement out of our investment, not just a return on investment?
What does that mean for you, though? What was the return on engagement? Is that just my workers are happier, they listen to me more, they do their job better? Like, what's the engagement?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm going to use your exoskeleton example, right? So, that person, when they get done working, they hate that job, right? They're like, my back hurts every day when I leave that. So they're not going to be as engaged. They're probably not going to move as fast at the end of the shift as they are at the beginning of the shift, right? They're not going to be as interested in helping you innovate or give you new ideas because they're just tired and hurting, right? Like, I mean, anytime you've had a long day walking a trade show floor, how interested are you in having like an in-depth innovation conversation? Not very much. So that's the kind of thing we got to think about, is how do we invest in the person? No one should be doing physical things, boring things, dull things, dangerous things. No one should be doing those tasks anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Jake All would even say, we shouldn't be working in the dark either, right? Yeah, some of the coolest innovations I've ever seen are just getting better lighting in your factory. You could change the culture in your organization just by investing in some good lighting.
I think there's two ways to look at that too when it comes to not doing your innovation in the dark. I think it's literally like you said, lighten up your shop, make it lively, like let's show that people actually work here. It's not just some empty factory. But I think it's also not being afraid to show off what you're doing for your customers, what you're doing for your people. So much of our business of manufacturing automation happens in the dark.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I think, when we talk about the going beyond productivity ROI, you do have to prepare your organization. They have to understand that, that you're going to make this investment and why you're making the investment. I mean, if you come to me, Jacob, and you say, my back hurts every day after work, right? I've talked to you as my frontline worker. I'm making you my frontline worker, right? You're putting together my stuff. You're taking that part. You're putting it in the machine. Like, your back hurts every day. You've told me that. And then I can come to you and I could say, hey, we had that conversation. I heard you say your back hurts. I heard you say you want to play with your kids. I invested in this collaborative robot, and it is going to move the material into the machine. So you don't have to do that part that makes your back hurt, but I want you here, and I need you to program this machine. I need you to run 3 machines for us because I can't find help. And this is going to make it easier for you to be able to go home and play with your kids on the floor and not have your back hurt. I invested in you. Like, you feel good about it, and you're not even my worker, right?
Yeah.
Just hearing that out loud. So I think when we make those kinds of investments, when we think about the people at the center, it really creates value and engagement in our organizations.
So you mentioned something about wanting to keep that person. I want to utilize you to keep this cell running, to do more, bigger, better things, creative things. At that point, though, do you think it's more so the responsibility of the company or the responsibility of the product supplier to provide training for that person, to keep them around, to get them better educated in the systems that you're using?
Yeah, that's fair. I think expecting the skills gap is really challenging. I mean, in my local association, the number one challenge that we're finding in the workforce locally, and this is a challenge all over, the number one challenge we're finding is people can't do basic shop math. They can't do basic addition and subtraction. They can't do basic multiplication. Those are challenges in the frontline workforce that we're finding. So the problem is because we're out there hunting right now, the BLS, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, they put out the data every month on where we're at, right? We have just shy of 1 million unfilled jobs as of December of 2023, just shy of 1 million unfilled jobs in manufacturing, warehousing, and transportation. But in retail, food service, and accommodation, we have like 1.8 million unfilled jobs. So there's like 3 unfilled jobs for every 2 that we have in manufacturing. So on your street, there's 5 unfilled jobs. So literally, you're taking a guy who was on a fryer in a Wendy's yesterday, and you are handing him a welder or a torch or making him assemble something in your factory today. And so the skill set is very low. And so we have to think about the technology investments we make. We have to take that into account, right? Because the last thing you want to do is to replace an open machinist position with a technology that now you need to go find a robot tech. You're just replacing one hard-to-find job with another hard-to-find job.
Which a lot of the times comes with more training, may come with a degree, it comes with a higher level of skill set a lot of times too. When it comes to, just a different level of skill set between robot programmer and CAM programmer for CNC machines, different worlds. And now, like you said, you're just replacing one issue for maybe another.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, when we put the well-being of the worker, I really got to come back. It always comes back to the worker at the center, right? So when we look at our worker and we talk to our worker and we get beside them, there are a number of manufacturers that I've worked with where the frontline supervisors, the first thing they do every day is they go on the floor and they help make parts on the floor. And they know the business then. They know the people then. They know about their kids or their grandkids. They know what's going on that weekend, right? Yeah. So we have to think about how do we engage our workers so we really understand it, right? I have a friend, his name's Ray Attia. Ray Attia wrote a book called Run, Improve, Grow. And the idea behind Run, Improve, Grow is your frontline workers should be able to run your business with no intervention from management, from mid-level management or upper management. If you are an upper manager and you're involved in the daily production of your floor, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. And the book really inspires this idea of your mid-level managers should be helping improve. So any roadblocks or challenges your frontline workers are having running the business, they're improving the business. And then as an executive staff and as a leadership team, that allows you to think about how we're gonna grow our business. Because you gotta be able to step back, and that all starts with trust in the frontline worker and believing in the frontline worker and investing in technology that makes them as effective as possible. And so that people in the center of your decision making, it enables so many parts of your business in so many different ways.
Dude, your passion's infectious, brother. I appreciate your time here today and just sharing some of your friends' stories, your friends' examples, what they're doing out in the industry. At the end of the day, human-centric innovations, what you're doing for your people, it's about helping them. It's about saving the quality of life. It's making sure that when they go home to their families, they're happy. They want to talk about what they did at work. Work shouldn't be something that's dreaded, that's avoided. Don't mention that to dad or mom when they get home because it doesn't make them happy. put these systems in place to benefit your workers, do more for your workers, and in turn, it's going to come back to you tenfold, and that goes out to your customers. It comes back to us, the consumers. Human-centric innovations, it's not just about mental health. It's not just about what the new trendy tech is out there. It's about the people and how they're feeling.
Definitely.